Are you serious? Are you serious? Where is my coffee? What? Well, I don't have it in my hand, but I'm making a fresh pot. But I can tell you, we've got to be concerned about what's going on in South Carolina as Hurricane Joaquin is right behind a massive, catastrophic, cataclysmic, apocalyptic, if you will, historical storm surge of biblical proportions. And I don't even think most people know it's happening down in South Carolina. But according to reports out of Charleston, South Carolina, and I've been talking to Daryl Cabasso down there in South Carolina, and he's saying, look, it's the beaches are eroding, literally eroding from this storm surge. It's not from the hurricane. It's from the storm ahead of the hurricane that now the water has nowhere to go, and the rain just keeps pouring down. Matter of fact, persistent torrential rainfall in South Carolina has caused dangerous flooding in main cities on this Sunday afternoon and prompted hundreds of rescues through shoulder-deep waters across the southeastern state of South Carolina. No deaths have been reported, which is an absolute miracle in the flooding, although the 5 traffic fatalities in North Carolina and South Carolina have been blamed on the storm, on some of the wettest weather in recent memory. South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley said parts of the state were hit with rainfall that would be expected to occur once in 1,000 years. Are you serious? We're talking a millennium. And with the river running at its highest level since 1936. That's why we keep telling people to stay off the roads, according to Governor Haley. And guys, you guys know, I told you a week before it happened that there was going to be some serious issues along the East Coast with flooding and rainfalls of a biblical proportion. And matter of fact, they first thought that Hurricane Joaquin, which means Jehovah established, also derivative of the root word, also means God's judgment. Well, we were concerned it would go toward Norfolk, Virginia. We were concerned about Washington, D.C. and Baltimore, Maryland, even into parts of Long Island and New York. But it looks like that the hurricane, even though it was a Category 4, does not and may not make a direct hit, but instead it is used. It's like a wall that's holding a massive amount of rain and storm surge and pushing it into South Carolina. Overnight rains flooded highways along South Carolina coast between Charleston and Georgetown, South Carolina, with the National Weather Service, or the NWS, we like to call them, the coastal city of Georgetown, population 9,000, was predominantly underwater, literally underwater. Also, we have every ambulance in the county out responding to calls. People are being moved from their homes in boats, according to the Georgetown County spokeswoman, Jackie Broach. Inland flooding also has hit the state capital of Columbia, where the river rose to 10 feet in 12 hours and was at flood level, according to local officials. State emergency officials have urged residents not to travel due to unsafe roads, and curfews have been instated in several places. Almost martial law, very close to it, including the capital of Columbia. The schools and universities in South Carolina have all been canceled for tomorrow, and the flood is unlike anything we've ever dealt with before, said the mayor of Columbia, Steve Benjamin, after declaring a nighttime curfew starting at 6 p.m. So he did not declare martial law, but he did put a curfew at 6 p.m. Columbia has a population of 130,000 people, and it is and is at the confluence of several rivers, swollen by several days of heavy rains. And it's not over yet. The floods waters are still flowing. The storm surge is still moving. President Barack Obama has declared a state of emergency in South Carolina on Saturday, making federal emergency funds available, and the precipitation records fell in many places, including, of course, Charleston, South Carolina, where it was hit very hard. In less than 4 days, they broke the record for the greatest monthly rainfall in the history of any October on record, and they surpassed any rainfall in a month of October in history, and they did it in 4 days. It is an absolute apocalyptic, cataclysmic event taking place right now in South Carolina. We will be covering this storm and its ramifications. Does anything to do with this storm have to do with what took place in the United Nations last week? Is America under judgment? And we'll talk about that tonight in our live broadcast. Starts at 7 p.m. Eastern at my website, Sunday night live at www.paulbegleyprophecy.com. That's www.paulbegleyprophecy.com from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern. Also, my live guest with me will be author L.A. Marzulli, so you don't want to miss it. We'll be talking about the demon spirits that roam the land, the Nephilims, the giants, before and after the flood. And I'm going to ask him point blank, is ISIS a modern day version of the Nephilims? They're evil. They're evil. The wickedness they do, the murderous rampaging. Is there something taking place there? And we'll find out more about the Days of Chaos, his new book coming out. So anyway, see you tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern at my website. Don't you be late. Get in the chat room right now. Go there right now. Log in, get in the chat room, and get ready for a move of God.